What if I told you that everything you saw in the Harry Potter franchise was a lie? What if the boy who lived never actually survived anything at all? At least, not in the way the history books or the pensieve claim. We've all spent decades arguing over whether Snape was a hero or whether the cursed child is actually canon. Don't get me started. But we've been ignoring the most glaring, terrifying truth hidden right in front of our muggle eyes. The theory? Harry Potter isn't a wizard. He isn't the chosen one. He's a deeply traumatized child who suffered a complete psychological break on his 11th birthday. Hogwarts, the Golden Trio, the epic battles between good and evil, it's all an elaborate internal mind palace, constructed to escape the grim reality of a cupboard under the stairs. I know, but we saw the magic. We saw Voldemort. Did we, though? Or did we see the manifestations of a fractured psyche trying to make sense of a world that treated him like literal trash? The way you framed the Mind Palace makes the whole story feel suffocating. It's a chilling perspective. Let's start connecting the dots, Potterheads. Think about the inciting incident. In literary terms, this is when the hero's journey begins. For Harry, it's when Hagrid literally breaks down the door of a shack on a rock in the middle of the ocean. Ask yourself, why does the magic only start when Harry is at his absolute lowest point? He's trapped, starving, and being bullied by a cousin who looks like a pig in a wig. Detail number 1, the letters from nowhere. Thousands of letters flying through the chimney? That's not magic. That's a classic visual hallucination triggered by extreme isolation. In psychology, when a subject is deprived of social interaction and basic needs, like say, living in a cupboard, the brain starts to misinterpret sensory data. The owls are just the birds Harry sees through the vent of his cupboard, transformed by his imagination into messengers of a better life. The owls as a coping mechanism for a child in a cage. It's unsettling. Detail number 2, the Muggle world versus the Wizarding world. Notice how every single person in the Wizarding world is a direct foil or an exaggerated archetype of someone Harry knows. The Dursleys represent the oppressors, but in Harry's mind, he creates an equal and opposite force. Lower volume, slow pace. Hagrid is the protector, the father figure he never had. He is literally larger than life, because that's how a small, malnourished child perceives safety. It makes sense. If your world is small and cold, your protector must be giant and warm. It's a classic defense mechanism. And let's look at the evidence for our first closer look scene. Picture this for the edit, a split screen. On one side, we see the Wizarding World version, Harry running through the barrier at platform 9 3/4. On the other side, the real world version, a malnourished boy running head first into a brick wall at King's Cross Station, collapsing into a catatonic state. Think about the logic of the Wizarding world. It's built entirely on the logic of a child. Why is the currency gold, silver, and bronze? Because that's what a kid thinks treasure is. Why are the teachers either pure good like Dumbledore or pure evil like Snape? Because children see the world in binaries. There is no nuance in the first few books because Harry's mind isn't capable of processing the complexity of his trauma yet. He needs a world where he is special, where he isn't just the boy in the cupboard, but the chosen one. Intermission, joining the order. We're going deeper into the pensieve now, And honestly, it's getting dark. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the crumbling psyche of our favorite Gryffindor, hit that subscribe button right now. Only 20% of you are actually subscribed, and we need the whole Order of the Phoenix to help us reach the finale. Don't be a squib. Join the crew. The monsters in the ward. If Hogwarts is a mental construct, then what are the monsters? Let's look at the Dementors. In the lore, they suck the soul out of you and thrive on depression. But in our theory, they aren't just metaphors. They are the literal manifestations of the hospital staff or the heavy sedation Harry is under. Think about the Dementor's kiss. It leaves the victim a hollow shell. In the early 90s, heavy psychiatric medication or even outdated treatments could leave a patient feeling exactly like that, numb, soulless, and empty. When Harry faints on the train, he's not reacting to a magical creature. He's reacting to a massive dose of antipsychotics being administered to a child experiencing a violent episode. Let's take a closer look at the Mirror of Erised. This is the god-tier piece of evidence. The inscription on the mirror, when read backwards, says, "I show not your face, but your heart's desire." Harry stands in front of this mirror for days, wasting away, staring at his dead parents. Dumbledore tells him it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live. Dumbledore isn't a headmaster in this light, is he? He's a doctor trying to pull a boy back from the brink of a total mental collapse. In our reality edit, this isn't a magical mirror in a dusty corridor. It's a window in a high-security ward. Harry is staring at his own reflection in the glass, projecting his lost family onto the void. Dumbledore isn't a wise headmaster. He's the chief of medicine, trying to pull a patient out of a total dissociative fugue state. It does not do to dwell on dreams, indeed. And what about the rules of magic? Why is it all in Latin? A common Muggle kid in a British school system would likely have heard these roots in history or church. His brain is using the fancy, old-sounding words to give his fantasy a sense of authority. It's a geek-tier defense mechanism. He's lore-building his own delusion. But the big bad? Voldemort. He's the most telling part of the theory of the fractured mind. Voldemort isn't a separate person. Look at the facts. They share a mind link. They speak the same rare language. A piece of Voldemort's soul is inside Harry. In our theory, it's dissociative identity disorder. In Harry, Voldemort is the manifestation of Harry's rage. The rage at being abandoned, the rage at being abused. Harry can't be a good boy and also be angry, so his mind splits. Neither can live while the other survives. It's a battle for dominance over a single consciousness. Now, I know what the comments section is already typing. But wait, what about the scenes where Harry isn't there? The counter-argument is simple: unreliable narrator. We assume what we see is the truth, but if the entire narrative is being channeled through Harry's perspective, then the logic holds. He's headcanoning the scenes he isn't in to support the internal logic of his fantasy. But let's debunk the "it was all a dream" trope once and for all with the strongest piece of evidence in the entire franchise: the finale. Harry dies and goes to a bright white version of King's Cross Station. Harry asks a very specific question: is this real, or has this been happening inside my head? And Dumbledore gives the ultimate meta answer: of course it is happening inside your head, Harry, but why on earth should that mean that it is not real? That's the smoking wand, guys. The shriveled, bloody infant under the bench, that's not a piece of Voldemort. That is the real Harry. The malnourished, abused, broken child in the cupboard, dying of neglect while his mind constructs a glorious battle for the fate of the world. In the real world, Harry didn't win. There was no all was well. There was only a boy in a cupboard who closed his eyes for the last time and imagined he was a king. He chose the beautiful lie over the ugly truth. The tape clicks off. Silence. This theory, it changes the way you see every hero story, doesn't it? It's much more haunting this way. So, the next time you rewatch the movies or reread the books, look at the magic differently. Look at the sparkles and the wands as the desperate firings of neurons in a dying brain, trying to provide a happy ending to a life that had none. Does this new reality ruin the magic for you? Or does it make Harry's journey even more tragic and lore-heavy? Do you accept this version of the boy who lived? Or am I just overthinking a childhood classic? Let's argue in the comments. And hey, if you want to see me ruin your childhood even more,